War is hell. Or at least it's supposed to be. But in 1866, Liechtenstein's army marched off to battle and returned with a national legend. No blood, no glory, just one of the strangest military stories in European history. Europe has long been a continent shaped by war. Kingdoms rising, empires falling, borders redrawn again and again, usually at a cost measured in blood. We were on our way from Switzerland into Austria, and then on to Germany. But first, we stopped in Liechtenstein.
Now we're on a bus headed to Liechtenstein. A couple of trains and a bus, and you too can be in Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein is one of Europe's smallest countries, a sliver of land between Switzerland and Austria, with more vineyards and castles than soldiers. At its heart, the capital Vaduz is watched over by a fortress on the ridge. White walls, red and white shutters. It feels timeless, like it's been watching over the Rhine Valley forever. In 1866, this castle stood witness as the entire army of Liechtenstein, all 80 men, marched off to war. The Austro-Prussian War had just broken out, a 7-week slugfest over which German-speaking powerhouse, Austria or Prussia, would dominate the patchwork of smaller German states caught in the middle. Liechtenstein's Prince Johann II agreed to support its ally Austria, but he drew the line at Germans fighting Germans. His soldiers would defend Tyrol against Italian invaders, and that was it. Captain Peter Rheinberger gathered his forces and sent them to the Stelvio Pass in the Alps to guard against Giuseppe Garibaldi, Italy's most famous revolutionary general, who was, at the time, trying to claim Austrian territory for a new, expanding Italian kingdom. Exactly 2 soldiers stayed behind at Vaduz Castle. Everyone else headed for the mountains. For 6 weeks, the men of Liechtenstein set up camp high in the Alps, waiting for enemies who never came. No battles, no casualties. Just 80 soldiers holding their ground on a mountain pass, while the war raged somewhere else. By July, the Austro-Prussian War was over. Austria lost, but Liechtenstein hadn't fired a shot. Their army packed up and marched home, every single man accounted for. And here is where history fades into legend. The story goes that 80 men left for war, and 81 returned home. The extra man is usually identified as an Austrian officer, a Lieutenant Ratinger, who accompanied the men back. Some historians dispute this, claiming it was simply an Italian farmer the troops made friends with, or another man who was just looking for work. Whoever he was, the story stuck. Liechtenstein is the only country in history with a war story where the casualty count is -1. 2 years later, in 1868, the country disbanded its army altogether. It was expensive, unpopular, and pointless to keep men under arms. Neutrality, and the protective shadow of Switzerland, became national policy. Most nations remember war with statues and casualty lists. Liechtenstein remembers this little tale, a war where nothing happened except for a national legend that still makes people smile.